But we do have the players ready for the final 10, so let's go ahead and get into that action, as there's going to be 8 races for this one. They're going to come down the hype tunnel as well. Of course, this is going to be your final 10 for tonight. Flash winning that first qualifier is going to be leading the charge there, is going to be Sir9 as well. Awesome Michael following shortly behind. We have Kyret there. We have Zavgo unfortunately dabbing. We have Terabyte, Agent 11, Glitchtastic, Zero, and a Marshall to secure the rest of that group. So this is a crazy group of players here in this one.
I mean, we're sitting with literally on our leaderboard 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 8, and 10.
And we have 4 too.
And we have 4. Oh, Kyra is here. So we have 8 out of the 10 of them in our top 10 leaderboard. That's absolutely insane to see the consistency from these players.
Yeah, and that's, you know, as Agent 11, to be able to do that against the likes of Glitchtastic, Zero, and Marshall in the wildcard, who are the 8th, 5th, and 6th ranked players respectively, to be able to do that is impressive. So to go into this final 10, he definitely should keep his head up. And obviously there's going to be 8 races, so there's some time for trial and error here. You can lose some points, but ideally you want to make sure you're consistent in this one. Obviously these are going to be the most important, and we're going to see how it's going to line up. In this one though, Josh, I want to get your input. Going through this list, you know, we had our top contenders earlier. We talked a little bit about it. You know, Sir9, Flash, some of these guys are really, really good and very consistent.
Right.
Who do you think is going to be able to take this one, though?
You know, it's really, really, really weird for me to say, but my money is actually on Agent 11 right now. After seeing such a strong wild card finish, and he just got off of some races, so he's warm, he's ready, and he's confident. I know he looked a little bit nervous, but I think his nerves are what really leads him to victory, gets that focus going.
Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah, see if he's able to do that in the final 10. Obviously, the final 10 is a lot more difficult than the wild card. Even like the wild card is extremely hard. The final 10 is the hardest you're going to have of all night, and it's going to be 8 races instead of 4 or 6. So there's going to be even more competition throughout. So we'll definitely see how he likes up in that. But obviously, I feel like Flash is going to be able to take this week's out. Had a pretty unfortunate standing. He got, I think, 4th place last week. So he's definitely trying to go back into this one, back to the final 10. And like I said, he usually crushes qualifiers. That's what he's really good at. But when he gets into the final 10, he drops a couple races here and there, gets like 9th or 10th place in some of them. So looking into this one, if he's able to keep that consistency going like he does in the qualifiers, I think this might be a super easy win for him.
Why do you believe that he's able to just dominate qualifier week after week? Because again, he doesn't go against the same players. He doesn't necessarily even go with the same strategies because the games are always changing. There's different maps, there's different items. So what do you think he does that really allows him to get that competitive edge?
It's definitely his like red zone control and being able to be so swift on everything and be like his head on a swivel. Every time there's something happening, he's always able to react to it. It's really impressive to see him going throughout the races, and that's why even in some of these races, even in the final 10 or the wild cards, he has a pretty sizable lead going forward, and it's really impressive because of how much control he has over some of these races. So we'll see, if he's able to do that going into this final 10 as well. Obviously, going to be a very hard series of races to really race through. But like you said, Agent 11 has that momentum. He's going to go into this one trying to win this. Obviously, getting a first place after not even thinking you can get out of that in the top 4 is insane. For his confidence, especially going into this, he's going to be like, okay, maybe I'm a lot better than I expected, especially when he, Zero, Glitchtastic, and Marshall are 3 really, really good racers.
They're
so
clean.
The fact that he was able to get first place by a pretty sizable margin to the other 3 is really impressive.
Yeah, he definitely showed his skill. I feel as though anybody who's wearing Nintendo swag typically is really good at Mario Kart. I don't know what's the materials made out of, but it definitely gives them some kind of super skill when it comes to this game. Next question I do want to ask you, Troy, is do you want to explain to the viewers what is different in this round versus the other rounds?
Yeah, so obviously this is going to be the final 10. So these are going to be the 10 racers of tonight. 6 of them already were qualified from their first place finishes in their qualifiers, and then the other 4 were decided on the series of races we just watched, which is the wild card round. So all 10 of them will be racing up against each other. All of these 10 placements are going to get a prize for the tournament, and is $500 guaranteed prize pool tonight. So they're all going to get some cash prizing tonight for being in the final 10. But now it just decides where they're going to be placed as we go into the first race of the final 10 out of 8 races tonight. This is going to be your last series of races, so let's make these some good ones.
This is definitely always fun to watch. The most talented players of the night here on stage. Flash sitting in second place, getting hit by a honing green shell, the most terrifying thing we have ever seen. I run when I see shells in real life now. We have the Agent 11 in a very optimal position. I don't know, where do you even see shells?
I was thinking the same thing. It's like, where do you actually see shells? I don't know if you own like multiple turtles and you like painted their shells like colors, but now we're seeing the Sir 9 taking this corner pretty swiftly here. Is going to still be in that third place spot, getting 2 red shells here. He's going to use one of those defensively. Obviously, seeing that banana in front of him, he's not going to throw that into the death trap right away, but he's going to use that, obviously, since he got a new item just to replenish there. Agent 11, unfortunately, going to get hit by the red shell. Is going to slow down his process here, but Glitch Chassis being hit by one right after is going to bring him back to second. Sir 9 now leading the charge here in first place out of the first of 8 races. Only currently at 4 points, so he definitely needs to improve on that a little bit, but other than that, he's racing really well. There is a very close gap between everyone else, though.
Sir 9 does have the competitive lean. Everyone knows that gamers, if you lean like that, you do gain some kind of advantage over other players. Unfortunately, falling off the edge, this is why I should not talk. Sir 9 now falling into 7th place, and the awesome Michael in a comfortable first place going into the 3rd lap, playing Metal Mario, as we mentioned many times before, seems to be the very, very common character, especially in these top 10 situations. King Boo, though, taking the lead from Metal Mario, but getting a very, very good mini turbo, trying to catch King Boo.
And I just want to point out something Minkalor in chat, shouts out to Minkalor, was here a few times and obviously a really great racer, said, where do you see shells? Down by the seashore. So, throwing that alliteration in there a little bit.
There's times where people really give you informative information, and that was one of those times, Troy.
Yeah, definitely. And we're seeing Flash actually somehow able to get back into first place here, but he's barely going to slide by as the Wario actually was able to take first place away. Just an unsuspecting finish. We actually didn't see Wario in most of first place that entire time, but Flash barely edging that one out into that second. Also didn't really see him at the charge of the group. Looks like Terabyte was actually able to be that first place player in this first race. So Terabyte already starting off hot on this one. Obviously there are 8 races, so that, like we said in the wild card, getting that first win is extremely important on the rest of these races.
Especially for the momentum. Terabyte now with his head down, being ready and focused. He had a bit of time off being in one of the first qualifiers, so he's going to definitely be in one of the last qualifiers. He was in qualifier 6, so he's actually feeling really clean. Yeah, I apologize for that one, but no, he is in a pretty optimal position, sitting with an early 12 points going into the second race. He's a very momentum-based driver. He keeps his head down when he's losing and has the ability to really push himself to the next level and stay focused. But when he's ahead, Terabyte doesn't give you an inch.
And like you said last week, coming from 10th place to 2nd place after repeated first place finishes is super important to be able to go forward into this one. So the fact that he's already started this final 10 off with a first place is definitely important for him. So we'll see, going forward if he's able to get there. We'll see if Sir 9 is able to get back into that first place throne that he's been claiming for so long. And he's just going to be starting with 1 item here instead of the 2. The bananas are going to come out behind him, and now we're seeing Flash on your screen. We know very, very consistent, and just going to be the same look so far like we saw in the last race, or the end of the last race at least. Terabyte going to be leading the charge here with Flash shortly right behind him.
Yeah, in a very optimal position. Wario matching his outfit as well. Just an incredible outfit and character choice due to that.
Yeah, and something that Jake was pointing out in the chat as well is like map RNG is actually extremely influential on qualifiers and races alike because of how different the maps really could be. It's very important to, obviously all the maps are randomly picked on this one, so none of the races really have a choice. But I'm sure if they did, they would not be choosing certain things like a psych bike or something like Baby Park. Right. But obviously they all want that fair competition. And I feel like going random is definitely a fair way of doing so. Obviously, that way no one really has an edge on what they're trying to do.
Yeah, the only way that it could be even more, in quotes, fair would be to have people also not be allowed to choose their kit if they could choose their map. So it has to be one or the other, right? So either you don't get to choose your build or you don't get to choose the map you're playing on. And we chose the map because I think that the map is a little bit less unfair just because you get to actually go home and you get to practice these builds. If you do it with the map, it's going to create a lot, or with the build, I apologize, it's going to be a lot more difficult. We do have the awesome Michael in a very optimal position, sitting in 2nd place. Dare I say, an awesome position Michael is in.
Yeah, definitely an awesome position Michael is in indeed. He's going to be trying to get back in that first place spot here. He's actually going to use the horn just to try and see what 2 items he can get. He's actually going to get a double red shell, so he has a chance of getting back into first place here. We'll see if he's able to connect with either one of those as he's going to hit that Wario. It's going to be Terabyte there in 2nd place, and he's able to barely squeeze by in that 2nd place spot as he dropped down that other Metal Mario there, and it looks like Terabyte able to take another first place finish off again. So Terabyte on a spree so far, like what you said, and like I was talking about earlier, once he's on a roll, will continue to go on that roll, and getting 2 races in a row to start out the final 10 is extremely important.
He is an incredible racer. He is just super good at all games Nintendo. I've seen him play Smash.
Yep.
Seen him play this game. So, and I mean, he just shows up and he rocks the gear, as I mentioned before. So he's just all around Nintendo. He just needs to get hired. He should be the poster child for Nintendo.
For Nintendo, yeah, there you go. He'll be the poster child for Saturday Night Speedway at least. But we'll see Awesome Michael now on your screen trying to figure out how to get back in the top 3 here, as it's been dropping a few placements, but trying to get back into that retrospectively. We'll see, of course, Sir9 trying to get back into those top 5 placements as well. Currently not sitting too hot on the leaderboards. We will see him hanging out a little bit here. Some of them are laughing at something. I'm not exactly sure what just happened, but I think it's the race or the map that ended up getting chosen. I think that's where the frustration is currently leading. We'll end up seeing exactly what that might be, but going into this 3rd race, it is going to be on Toad's Turnpike. So another interesting map choice coming out here, and I want to know what was so funny.
Yeah, maybe he took a random guess and guessed the map correctly. I mean, we could be guessing
all
all day.
Or this map is like not good either, and they've just been like constantly just getting destroyed by these map pools. Yeah. So we're seeing some turbo drifts coming out as they are taking these corners here. Awesome Michael now going into this one. You're going to see these buses are going to be extremely crucial in the placement of everybody though, because obviously they're pretty big. So you have to be careful on avoiding those and taking your turns very swiftly. Like you see Awesome Michael here, always going to bump into a little bit here of the side rails, but you will definitely still keep your momentum going. As you see, Kyret is actually leading the charge. Nicely done for him to be able to maintain that. He's going to throw the bomb in front of him, which actually won't do too much for him, as it probably would have done a little bit more behind him, considering obviously he's in first place, but it had a bit of a side, or he had a bit of a lead at least, so it's not like anyone was going to run into it rather swiftly.
I wonder if he was trying to throw it at one of the cars to remove it from the map, but even then it seemed to be a very, very odd decision with more cars being left behind him, and not to mention 9 other players. Flash now sitting in 3rd place with a triple green shell situation, looking to hit the player in front of him. Unfortunately, not being able to line up the hit just yet, but that 2nd place player is sitting with a horn in a very comfortable position. Getting rid of the horn, though, so he can get something else, and then ending up getting another horn back in 2nd place. How lucky can you be, Troy?
I mean, yeah, he definitely is in a situation to be in a comfortable spot here moving forward. And, something, about the map choice. Obviously, a lot of these guys are not too happy with the maps that have been chosen so far in this final 10. I want to know exactly what a good map is, because obviously, if all of these are bad maps, I just want to know exactly what a good map is. But that blue shell is actually going to come in at the end of this last race here. That's going to connect on the Metal Mario in first place, who I believe was actually Kyret. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see his reaction, but he will get hit by that, and it's going to slow him down a little bit, but still a sizable lead in front of him. And now you see Terabyte trying to edge out that player in 3rd place. Looks like he was able to do so. Is going to currently try and go back into the 2nd place, but the player's gliding right above him. And he's still going to be able to take that 2nd place down, as it looks like that 3rd place player was just shortly behind him on his tracks.
That number 2 actually disappeared and then reappeared. That's how close that was. He almost lost that 2nd position, literally because someone almost just swooped in and took it.
Literally, yeah. He literally almost just took him off his feet and was able to take that placement away from him. So luckily enough, it didn't happen to be the case, as we see these players are getting ready for the 4th race of the 8 total in this final 10. It looks like they're all predicting maps or talking about whatever the map might be. But Terabyte, with 2 first-place finishes and now a 2nd place in that one, has a pretty sizable lead going into this 4th race here. So it's really up to other players to get those first places away from him, obviously, and also try and knock him down a few spots.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of players that are going to be able to really close in on Terabyte unless they're able to get some good items to knock him down. And I'm talking about, again, mentally. He is just so strong mentally because he's just here and he has a good time while he's here. That's the same thing with Sir9, though. I definitely could see Sir9 making a comeback here tonight.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if he's able to do so. He's currently in about 6th place, I believe, with 14 points, which is a pretty sizable lead from 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. But he definitely has a chance of getting there. Obviously, this is only the 4th race out of 8, so there's definitely some time to drop some points. But this is definitely the case where he needs to get a lot more in return. So this would be where he wants to start getting those first place finishes. As we see Marshall currently sitting in 7th place here, is going to be trying to glide himself into a first place finish. But he's currently sitting in last place, tied with Zovgo right now on your screen right now. Both of these players kind of struggling so far in this final 10 here. and now we will see him getting his 10th coin is going to secure himself that percentage speed boost, getting that 2% speed as he goes forward.
It's going to be extremely beneficial for him going into 4th place right now. Now we do have Wario on the screen again, rocking the matching character. Terabyte looking real good in 3rd place. Now pulling an item and going to be able to use that mushroom to close this gap effectively. Sitting with 9 gems is going to definitely make him feel a lot more comfortable. We have Sir9 now in 1st place. As I mentioned, definitely one of our top competitors, and he is so, as I mentioned prior, is so mentally strong. He's playing Metal Peach and going for a huge shortcut, unfortunately getting hit in the back, and it just completely ruined his day. Flash now in 1st place and going on to the 3rd lap.
Yeah, it was a nice takeover by Flash to be able to take that away from the likes of Sir9. So nicely done from him to be able to kind of bump him out of the way, but he's still very closely behind him. And Jake would have gotten mad at you if you called these gems, because I used to call them like whatever emeralds, whatever it might be. They were actually rupees.
Looks like a gem, Bob.
But yeah, that's exactly what I was like. You know what? It looks like an emerald. It looks like any kind of gem. But yeah, they're going to be on Hyrule Castle here, of course, for the 4th race. We are going to be seeing Flash currently taking that lead, but Sir9 is shortly behind him. So Flash with 2 green shells is in a great spot, though. He's going to go for this small boost here, as we saw Sir9 try to do it earlier, but that blue shell is actually going to come in. He has nothing to be able to defend it against it as well. So it looks like Sir9 also ran into something on the map there as well. So it looks like Flash is able to still secure this 1st place, as Sir9 also ran into something or got hit by a red shell. So that will be the 2nd place for Sir9 and a 1st place finish for Flash there.
Definitely looking like Sir9 got hit by a red shell. As the exact same moment, Flash had his day ruined by a blue shell, but because that gap wasn't able to be closed because of the red shell, Flash takes an easy win there.
Yeah, that's super nice for him. Flash was currently sitting in 2nd place there, 10 points behind Terabyte. So that 1st place is going to get him boosted up towards getting it back into that 1st place finish. So that is a huge placement for Flash to be able to get to go forward in this one. We'll obviously see where Terabyte ended up placing. Didn't do too well in that last race. So now Flash, only 3 points behind of that 1st place finish, has a chance to really try and reclaim that throne. Terabyte's still racing really well. Definitely doesn't want to start losing points here, though.
Yeah, it's tough when you're, again, competing against these players who are so good. Flash only 3 points behind Terabyte. That's the difference between a 1st and 3rd place victory. So these guys really need to stay consistent for them to keep their positions in a solidified manner.
Yeah, we're going to this 5th race of 8 here for tonight's final 10. As we saw, we were talking earlier about Terabyte, who is the Wario on your screen, currently sitting in that 1st place spot in the overall standings. Flash, who is the Metal Mario, I believe, or actually Flash is always the Roy. Flash and Roy is going to be in that 2nd place overall. So we're definitely going to keep our eyes on those two, as Flash currently holding that 1st place spot. It looks like Terabyte maybe item smuggling there in 10th place. We'll keep an eye out on those two as they progress, but also looking at anyone else that is able to take these 1st place finishes away from one of the two.
Yeah, right now they're looking very confident, though, holding those positions. Metal Mario sliding into 4th place comfortably. Now there's a crazy battle happening between all the Metal Marios. This is what we're talking about. More and more Metal Marios start to show up as these maps progress. Now sitting in 3rd place, trying to get the grip on Zero, but Zero in a very comfortable position, holding this 1 green shell.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of the Metal Mario, Zavko being one of them, not having too great of a final 10 so far, currently sitting in 9th place with only 10 points, and Marshall actually doing a little bit worse with only 8 points. So Marshall really not having the best of standing so far into this qualifier, or in this final 10. So we'll see, hopefully Marshall trying to get some leeway here. It looks like he's currently sitting about 7th or 8th, though, in this race, so he's not doing too hot so far, trying to get back in that. But Agent 11, for the first time, we're seeing trying to get back into the top 3 here. As soon as we mention him, ends up getting hit by absolutely everything in his path. Currently sitting in that 8th place spot overall, so, you know, still from that momentum going on for the wildcard round, he's still doing really well going into this.
There was just 2 stars and 2 bullet bills. What is happening, Troy?
You got Geronimo at the beginning of lap 3 instead of at the end. As we see, Glitch-tastic currently sitting in 5th place is going to have this green shell. We're seeing Zero with 2 defensive items there in 2nd place. Is going to be super strong for him, as he has a potential capability to be able to not get hit by anything on his path to victory. But Flash, look at Flash's lead on the bottom right corner. His lead is absolutely insane in that 1st place spot.
That's going to involve 7 blue shells, 8 red shells, and a couple banana chips for 2nd place to end up actually being able to catch Flash. Electric coming out, and now a blue shell. What is happening? Zero is getting Gerard mode, and now he is blind There is just so much negative impact, and now a bullet bill incoming as well, taking him into 7th place.
Dropping all the way from 2nd to 7th from that blue shell is going to be super unfortunate. It looks like Sir9 actually somehow able to get himself into that 2nd place spot after it looks like was in at 9th or 10th for most of that race. Nicely done from Flash, though. Obviously, your eyes are going to be on Flash for that one, as he had such a demanding lead going into that. Was impressive to see, especially going into a little bit over halfway through these final 10 races. That was race 5 out of 8. 3 points ahead of Terabyte now.
Yeah, that 3-point lead that Terabyte had, now Flash has taken it. So only a 3-point differential, easily able to be closed in the next race. Very, very fun race to watch. Not so fun, unfortunately, for Zero.
Yeah, that was a super unfortunate finish for Zero. Zero already having a kind of a tough time sitting in the middle of the pack here in the final 10. That first place definitely would have been huge, or second place would have been huge for him on trying to get a little bit more points back, closer to at least getting back into the top 5 here. But we are going into the 6th race out of the 8 races total for tonight's final 10. We are going to see this is one of the more smaller maps, but not too difficult of a map to really try and go through. So we'll see how the small shortcuts and action is going to go through here. As we see, Terabyte unfortunately missing an item there, as Wario is not going to be in the greatest of shape to try and item smuggle, especially with no items. Can't really do that strategy once you don't get items.
Yeah, supposedly, I mean, it's in the name,
yeah.
Troy. It's
yeah,
item
really
smuggling. It's to take items. So, yeah, it's like going to a restaurant to eat, but not getting food. It's a very confusing process. Now sitting in 2nd place, Koopa looking real fresh, chasing down Metal Mario, holding on to this coin. Do you want to explain why people hold on to coins?
Yeah, so the reason to hold on coins, obviously, is going to use that there. If you are currently, I think, at 10 coins, you're just going to want to hold it, because if you get hit by any item, you're actually going to end up dropping coins down as soon as you get hit by the item. I believe it's 3 coins once you get hit. Once you use the coin power up, you get 2 of those back. So you're definitely just wanting to get back into that 10 shape you were on earlier on if you did get hit by it. Other than that, you're most of the time just going to be trying to get through, to the next item there. As you see, Glitchtastic unfortunately hitting a few walls. He's going to hit a few bricks in the way. We'll try and get back to that 1st place spot, but Flash overtaken here in 2nd place, or in the 2nd race, in the 2nd lap, in 1st place. I don't know where my mind was going, but
it felt like it was in the right place, though, Troy. We have Flash on the screen in 1st place, 10 coins, looking real good with a defensive item. He's just picking up coins for fun at this point. He's having a collect them all game. This ain't Pokemon. 2nd place Koopa still quite a bit away from Roy, and Roy now on his way to the finish line, but a blue shell coming out and ruining his day. Lucky for him, it was not over the water. That could have been extremely detrimental to his overall placement. Sitting now in a much more dangerous position. The other players closing the gap. He needs to find a way to get through this successfully. Sir9 now in 2nd place and is not letting up, pulling a 2-item box and holding a red shell. We are now about halfway done with this lap. It seems to actually be a much larger map than what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, that 2nd race is actually, or the 2nd lap actually was super important, but now Sir9 being knocked down from Grishel, who's dropping all the way to 4th place as Awesome Michael tries to reclaim that 1st place spot here. Going to have a coin and a banana, not going to be too beneficial for him, but he's probably going to drop to that banana here shortly at the end of this race, just to make sure he solidifies his 1st place spot. He will end up taking that one back for himself, so that is a good finish for Awesome Michael. Looks like Flash was able to secure a 2nd place out of the end of that one, but there's currently 5 Metal Marios on the map here. Just wanted to point that out going into this.
Yes, I'm going to assume that then the next one there's going to be 6 or 7. And then in the last one there's going to be 9. It's like a disease.
The Metal Marios just slowly start infecting the rest of the characters.
It's like a zombie apocalypse except with Metal Marios.
That's kind of terrifying, actually.
It is. Just imagine a bunch of Metal Marios running around. Imagine metal people.
I was just thinking this. Well, robots.
No, I mean... Oh my goodness.
Yeah, imagine robots. That is actually...
That is what just went through my head, yeah.
Sorry, I just kind of blew your brain up right there. But we're obviously getting ready for the 7th race here. Josh is currently broken, so someone needs to restart him rather shortly and rather quickly before we get into the 7th race. But obviously, it was a pretty nice race coming up from Flash. I believe still securing that 2nd place finish is going to keep him at a pretty solid 1st place overall standings. Now 10 points ahead of Terabyte, and like I said, I'm kind of proud of myself because I predicted Flash on winning this one. So,
I predicted Flash.
You didn't predict Flash. You predicted Agent 11.
You did. Agent 11 making a comeback, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Obviously, 2 more maps here. This is going to be Bowser's Castle you're looking at. So we'll see how everyone is going to like up or fare up against the competition here. We're seeing Agent 11 now currently sitting in that second place spot. So this would be great for him if he's able to continue in this spot for the rest of the race here. But now getting that double item is going to be huge for him as well. But those double bananas now could be too beneficial for him. Actually, as soon as I say it, connects with the player behind him with one of them. So also gets this boost off, will be huge moving forward in this race. Bowser's Castle definitely a very difficult map, though. There's obviously a lot of boundaries and twists and turns you got to be careful of avoiding.
Yeah. On these maps, there are a ton of turns, but what you'll notice is with the veteran players that they will take these turns extremely tightly, trying to stay in that red zone and get that extra speed. But even more so, just making sure to take the diagonal route, make the distance extremely short, to get that upper hand on players. And when you see them not do that, you can see them trying to readjust to, again, try to hug the corner. So it's very, very difficult to constantly do this successfully, but they do a very, very good job. And that's where a lot of this skill does come into play.
Yeah, now we're going to see Sir 9 trying to get himself back into that first place spot, but it is going to be held by Flash, of course, who's been constantly holding that so far. That red shell is actually going to get hit by the map. So nice map manipulation from Flash to be able to get rid of that red shell while he did not have a defensive item currently behind him. Same thing is going to happen with that red shell as well. So Flash is playing this one extremely smartly. Now currently going into this last lap here with a pretty sizable lead. Looks like Terabyte, who is second overall, is currently going to be second in this race as well. So it looks like the standings so far are remaining true as Flash gets a really solid lead going into this.
The thing that's super interesting about Flash that you don't really see with a lot of players is he takes the game seriously until the very end. He won't really let up. I rarely ever have seen him just stop at the finish line or do anything cheesy like that. So he does have this huge sizable lead. So I'm actually curious to see if he does that right now. But second and third place seem to be in a pretty neck-to-neck battle, especially with that star closing in on Wario, who looks to be our second place player.
Yeah, actually, I remember Flash ended up getting some criticism for doing that one time.
Oh, when?
So, it was actually, I believe, the first time he ended up coming to Saturday Night Speedway. But that is going to be a first-place finish for Flash, almost guaranteeing himself a first place overall in the tournament. But yeah, he ended up doing that in one of his qualifiers and ended up stopping at the end of one and just kind of hanging out. And then, so he got a little bit of criticism for that, just because everyone was just like, you didn't have to do that. But obviously he had a huge lead, so he just kind of was hanging out.
Yeah, I don't believe that is necessarily cool to do, but I do respect him for not continuously doing it
exactly.
And showing the other players a lot of respect. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and having 70 points to you saw 51 in second will absolutely guarantee himself a first place finish here. So that is going to be that first place. I mean, we still have one more race, of course, but that first place is definitely being guaranteed to Flash moving forward. So now it's just to decipher who's going to be 2nd through 10th at this point now.
Who's your money on?
At what point?
Not now. Now we're not talking first. Now we're talking second. I want to be right for once.
Oh, yeah. Well, Terabyte has actually lost a lot of points in here, so I'm going to say Austin Michael is going to get himself back up to second, and Terabyte's going to drop to third. Sir 9's going to stay in fourth.
I think Sir 9's going to jump to third, and I don't know who's going to be second. So while I asked you who was in second place or who's going to be in second place, I'm guessing third place, just to be safe and just keep my money.
Perfect. And now we are going on to Wario's Gold Mine. Rest in peace, the Jake Parker. As we see, this is his hijinks reel. Unfortunate drops as we see. Glitchtastic trying to take this turn. We're going to see as he go forward in this map. Obviously, the rest of these guys are racing for money. So obviously, Flash guaranteeing that first place spot is going to get that first place money. But the rest of these guys still racing for the 2nd through 10th place. So we'll see. This is important.
All of them do make money.
Yeah.
Coming in, regardless of if you come in 10th or 2nd, you are going to make some cha-ching. So let's see how this continues to go. We have the awesome Michael sitting in third place with a red shell in his inventory. I'm not entirely sure where that just went. I don't know if he just threw it to protect himself. Now using the green shell in a protective manner, seeing the red shell coming in behind him, but unfortunately the red shell does disappear for whichever player did throw that. The awesome Michael now trying to close the gap on the first place player, who, again, seems to be a very, very clean driver.
And what's funny is that we never really realized how many... we were talking earlier about how Mario's never actually seen. We see Metal Mario all the time. I wasn't counting it either. I was I feel like the regular Mario is the average Mario. So that is the one we were talking about earlier. But we're going to see, a list of Metal Marios currently leading the charge in the top 3 here. Looks like Kyrate is actually going to be in first place. Going to the second lap here. That is going to be an unfortunate stop for him, but not going to stop him too much as he gets this green shell block onto that red shell there. Going into the third lap here. with a pretty nice lead, still along the likes of another Metal Mario shortly behind him, which I believe is the Awesome Michael. We will see how he's able to how he's able to fare up in this one. Currently has a defensive item behind him, so Awesome Michael is sitting pretty nicely here. Getting a green shell as well is going to pretty much ensure his safety for a decent bit of time. Sir 9 in third place though with that banana and 3 mushrooms could be really helpful for him as he goes through.
So what this means though is that if Sir 9 stays in third place and the Awesome Michael stays in second place, Sir 9 is not going to be able to actually catch him. So he's going to have to take, because it is only a 1-point differential. So for Sir 9 to pass the Awesome Michael, he needs that second place victory.
Yeah, and we'll see if he's able to get there. Obviously, Sir 9 is making his way up. Kyred is actually dropping down a little bit here. He does have the green shell. It's going to be a pretty close competition, but he is able to get past that final finish. Kyred securing himself that first place in the last race here. It looks like Awesome Michael getting second place shortly behind, and then Flash finishing in third there. Not like it matters where Flash finishes. Obviously, always going to be in first place overall for the tournament, but that actually is huge for Kyret because he was, 6 points behind fourth place there in Sir 9, and that first place could bump him up, a couple spots here possibly.
Right, especially the Awesome Michael came in second. Sir 9 was third, I think.
Third or fourth.
Third or fourth.
Flash got third, and I think Sir 9 was fourth or fifth.
He got knocked down?
Yeah.
He looked pretty clean, but I guess that probably happens when you get hit by shells.
Yeah, when it happens a lot, repeatedly, I guess that just happens to be the case for some of these guys. Flash finishing with 78 points, so it's actually really impressive. That's, almost an average of second place for every map.
Is that a record?
I don't actually know. It might be close to one. I don't actually know the highest points that we've had. But 78, we have 8 races, and getting second place in every race is 10 points. So he almost got second place in like an average of second place in every single one of these races.
Yeah, he pulled first place 5 times.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. But we have the replays, obviously, so we'll be able to see exactly how many first place finishes he was able to get. Flash just kind of dominating this final 10 again, especially at the very end. Seems at the beginning half he kind of was struggling a little bit, but that's kind of what we're used to seeing. He definitely kicks it into gear going into the second half of the final 10. We saw Agent 11 getting knocked by shells. Sir 9, this really unfortunate fall actually might have lost him that entire race, and that was just, just small things like that really are beneficial for you over the long run.
He had quite a huge advantage before falling off the edge there. Again, we always see these blue shells coming out of nowhere, and that's not the start you want.
That is not ideal. That is probably why we saw item smuggling coming out from, I believe that was either Awesome Michael or Zero right there. But, Flash, like we saw, Terabyte actually led the charge there for the first half of the final 10, getting a lot of first place finishes and doing really well. But, for the last half of the last half of the final 10, it looks like we just repeatedly saw Flash getting those first place finishes.
Yeah, an extremely good performance by Flash. I still will never get over seeing 2 stars and then 2 bullet bills all at the same time. That is a lot of ridiculous items coming out all at once. I've never seen that really happen in Saturday Night Speedway at all.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate to be constantly berated by items like that. Obviously, it does happen, and there's not much you can do, especially something like Bullet Bill and Star where they're actually invincible. You can't really do anything about that, so you kind of just have to hope to get out of their way as you bob and weave through the traffic. But, some generally really, really crazy races. But we do have Jordan back on the floor with our fourth place player, Sir 9. We'll also go ahead and send it down to you guys.
He's trash.
Hey guys, so I'm down here with Sir 9, who did not win, unfortunately. He's endorsing Palm Wonderful tonight. Sir 9, I'm really sorry about this. Is this going to be an end to your trash talking?
No. No, I haven't played for 3 weeks. Mario Kart's not even that good of a game, so,
This is a tough crowd for you to say that. How do you feel about Isabella?
She's no longer good. She's not even a good dog anymore, so I'm sticking to Metal Peach for a while.
All right, it's a good choice. It's okay, it's shiny. Are you going to do anything different for next time? Anything to hype yourself up? Maybe good luck stuff?
I think I need to bring back the Labo and kick you guys' asses with that. So that's what we're going to do.
All right, well, you got it from the crowd, guys. Everybody's pretty pumped. Thank you, Sir 9. You're awesome. Back to you guys.
I'm hyped. I want to see it again because the last time he brought that out, he actually ended up doing pretty decent. He was in the likes against Cherry in his qualifier as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive to see him bringing that out. So we'll see if he does bring it out again. Obviously, a small break is going to bring him back in this one. But, obviously everything is finally coming to a close here. Josh, what are your final thoughts on Saturday Night Speedway number 16?
Lots of incredible races here tonight, as always. But I'm now excited for the revenge of Sir 9.
Agreed.
That's going to be, 1, an incredible movie trailer once that comes out.
I can see it.
2, I mean, he took 3 weeks off. Imagine if he didn't take 3 weeks off, what would happen?
Yeah, we'll see him. Obviously, I think he got 4th place today. If he had that 3 weeks, that's a first place in general. But, final thoughts on everything was really smooth. It sounded like everything was just kind of good and forward, and Flash getting the same placements that he got from what he did in the qualifying round. So that was a super nice thing to see, and now hopefully he's able to do that consistently moving forward.
Yeah, he is shown week after week that he is just an incredible racer. So
yeah,
again.
So, of course, thank you guys for joining us here at the HyperX Esports Arena, as well as on Twitch chat at HyperX ESALV. My name is Troy Welling, of course, joined alongside me by Joshua Kaplan. That was the end of Saturday Night Speedway number 16. Definitely a lot of great action in general coming out through tonight, and some very close-knit races. Obviously, 6 qualifiers, the highest we've ever actually had. So really impressive. Thank you for everyone coming out, though. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.